You wake up tomorrow morning and something feels wrong. Your body weighs twice as much. Your limbs are pinned to the bed like you're being crushed by an invisible force. You try to sit up, but it's like bench pressing your own body weight just to lift your torso. Before we get started, check out the link in the description to download our ebook. Your lungs struggle to expand. Your heart pounds against your ribs. Congratulations, gravity just doubled overnight. The question is, would you even survive the week? Today, we're doing a thought experiment that sounds like science fiction, but is grounded in real physics. What if Earth's gravity suddenly became twice as strong? Not gradually over millions of years, but instantly, like someone flipped a cosmic switch. We're going to explore what happens to you in the first few seconds, what daily life would look like if you managed to adapt, and whether humanity could actually survive on a double-gravity Earth. And trust me, the answers are way more fascinating and terrifying than you might think. Let's dive in. So, gravity doubles. The first thing you'd notice, you instantly weigh twice as much. If you're 150 pounds, you're now effectively 300 pounds. If you're 200 pounds, congrats, you're now 400. But here's the thing, your muscles and bones didn't get any stronger. They were built for 1G, 1 times Earth's gravity. Now they're being asked to do twice the work. Standing up would feel like you're wearing a backpack filled with another entire version of yourself. Walking, forget it. Every step would be exhausting. Your legs would burn like you're doing squats with a loaded barbell continuously. Most people wouldn't be able to walk more than a few steps without collapsing. Children and elderly people, they'd be completely immobilized. A small child who weighs 50 pounds would suddenly experience 100 pounds of force on their fragile skeleton. The elderly, who already deal with bone density loss, would face catastrophic fractures just from trying to stand. But it gets worse. Your skeleton isn't just supporting weight, it's now under compression. Your spine, which normally handles the weight of your upper body, is now being crushed by double the force. Vertebrae would compress. People would literally become shorter, not by evolution, but by immediate physical compression. You'd lose an inch or two of height instantly. Broken bones would become epidemic. A simple fall, something you might walk away from today, could shatter your femur or skull. Osteoporosis would become a death sentence. Your muscles, they'd be in constant fatigue. Remember, your heart is a muscle too, and it's now working twice as hard to pump blood upward against gravity. Blood pooling in your legs would become a serious problem. Your cardiovascular system would be stressed to the breaking point. Standing for long periods could cause fainting, or worse, stroke and heart attack rates would skyrocket. Here's something you probably never think about: breathing. Right now, your diaphragm and intercostal muscles expand your ribcage almost effortlessly. But under 2G, your ribcage weighs twice as much. Every breath becomes an active workout. Think about that. You take about 20,000 breaths a day. In double gravity, each one requires significantly more effort. You'd feel constantly short of breath, like you're breathing through a straw. People with asthma or other respiratory conditions, they'd be in critical danger immediately. Even healthy people would tire quickly. Imagine needing to catch your breath just from sitting still. That's the reality of 2G. So let's be clear, if gravity doubled right now, the first 24 hours would be chaos. Hospitals would overflow with fractures, heart attacks, and respiratory failures. Many people, especially children, the elderly, and those with pre-existing conditions, would not survive. But let's say you're young, healthy, and strong. You manage to adapt to basic movement. You learn to crawl instead of walk. You spend most of your time lying down to reduce the strain. Could you build a life in this world? Let's talk about your house. Right now, buildings are engineered for 1G, double the gravity, and suddenly every structure on Earth is experiencing twice the load. Roofs collapse, bridges fail. Skyscrapers, especially older ones, would crumble like sandcastles. Your car, forget about it. Vehicles are designed for 1G handling and fuel efficiency. Under 2G, tire pressure would need to double. Suspension systems would bottom out. A sedan would drive like a tank, guzzling fuel and struggling to accelerate. Highway speeds would become impossibly dangerous. Crashes would be twice as deadly. Airplanes, they'd fall from the sky. Lift is generated by air pressure differences over wings, and planes are calibrated precisely for Earth's gravity. Double gravity means you need far more lift. Commercial aircraft would be grounded permanently. We'd be back to a pre-aviation world overnight. Agriculture would collapse. Farm equipment would break down under the increased weight. Irrigation systems that rely on gravity-fed water flow would either fail or need complete redesign. Animals would suffer too. Birds couldn't fly. Their wings generate lift based on 1g, and doubling gravity would make most species too heavy to achieve takeoff. Large animals like elephants, giraffes, and cattle would collapse under their own weight. Only smaller, sturdier creatures, insects, rodents, reptiles, might survive relatively intact. The food chain would shatter. Ecosystems would collapse. Humanity would face immediate famine. Water infrastructure? Also a nightmare. Pumping water upward against twice the gravitational pull would require double the energy. Your shower would have pathetic water pressure. Toilets might not flush properly. Cities would struggle to deliver clean water to upper floors. Now let's zoom out. Earth's oceans would be pulled even more strongly toward the planet's center. Sea levels would drop slightly, but tides would become more extreme. Twice the gravitational force means more dramatic tidal bulges. The atmosphere would compress. Right now, atmospheric pressure at sea level is about 14.7 psi. Double gravity would increase that significantly. Breathing would be denser. You'd get more oxygen per breath. Which sounds good, but the air would also feel heavier and thicker, especially at higher altitudes. Mountains would become death zones. Climbing Everest is already deadly at 1g. At 2g, it would be impossible. The atmosphere would be compressed into a thinner shell around Earth, meaning the edge of space would be closer to the surface. Weather patterns would intensify. Rain would fall harder and faster. Storms would be more violent. Hurricanes would be devastating. Wind speeds would increase because denser air carries more kinetic energy. Earth itself might become geologically unstable. Tectonic plates would experience more pressure. Volcanic activity could increase. Earthquakes would be more destructive because everything, buildings, mountains, people, is heavier and exerts more force. Here's where things get really interesting. How did gravity double in the first place? Gravity is determined by mass. To double Earth's gravity, you'd need to either double Earth's mass or shrink the planet to half its radius while keeping the same mass. Both scenarios are catastrophic. If Earth's mass doubled, our orbit around the Sun would change. We'd pull the Moon closer, possibly triggering tidal chaos or even a collision over geological timescales. The Sun's gravitational influence on us would remain the same, but Earth's day length and year length could shift, depending on how the mass was added. If Earth shrank, instead compressing to half its radius, the surface would be closer to the core. Gravity increases as you get closer to a mass's center. So yes, you'd feel 2g. But now, the planet is a compressed hellscape, with extreme heat, pressure, and probably no habitable surface left. Either way, this is extinctional level stuff. Let's be brutally honest. Most humans wouldn't make it. The sudden shift would kill millions in the first week, either directly from injury or indirectly from infrastructure collapse, famine, and societal breakdown. Even if you survive the initial chaos, long-term prospects are grim. Without technology, agriculture, or medicine, humanity would regress centuries. We'd become a species living close to the ground, in reinforced shelters, eating whatever small animals and hardy plants could survive. Space exploration. Forget it. Launching a rocket from 2G Earth would require exponentially more fuel. We'd be stuck on this planet permanently. But would some humans survive? Probably. Humans are incredibly adaptable. Given enough time, and I mean generations, we might evolve shorter, stockier bodies with denser bones and more powerful muscles. Think of how different dog breeds look. Now imagine natural selection breeding humans for 2G over 10,000 years. We'd become a species of short, strong ground dwellers, not thriving, but surviving. Evolution takes time. But let's imagine a future where humans have adapted to 2G over thousands of years. What would we look like? Shorter and wider. A lower center of gravity reduces fall risk and bone stress. Thicker bones with higher density. Massively stronger leg and core muscles. Our cardiovascular systems would be more robust, possibly larger hearts or more efficient circulation. We'd probably spend a lot of time sitting or lying down. Architecture would change, homes built low to the ground, wide rather than tall. No more high rises, cities would sprawl horizontally. But honestly, this is a rough life. Even adapted humans would face constant physical strain. Could technology save us? Maybe. Exoskeletons could help. Imagine powered suits that support your weight and assist movement, like Iron Man, but less flashy and more practical. With advanced robotics, people could walk, work, and function relatively normally. We'd need to redesign everything: buildings with massive structural reinforcements, vehicles powered by high-efficiency engines, drones and robots to do work humans can't. Maybe we'd build underground cities to escape the surface's crushing weight, or develop genetic engineering to accelerate evolution, creating superhumans with enhanced strength and bone density. In a weird way, living on 2G Earth might push humanity to become more advanced technologically. We'd have no choice but to innovate or die. But here's the catch. All of this assumes we survive long enough to develop these technologies. And that's a big assumption. So, would humans survive if gravity doubled? Short answer: not most of us. The immediate death toll would be catastrophic. Infrastructure would collapse. Society would fracture. Life as we know it would end. But some humans might make it. Through sheer determination, adaptation, and eventually evolution, a remnant population could survive. It wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be comfortable. But life finds a way. The real question is, would you want to live in that world? Here's something to think about. Astronauts on the ISS experience microgravity, basically 0G, and their bodies deteriorate rapidly. Bones lose density, muscles atrophy. Gravity is a constant, invisible force shaping every aspect of our biology. We're evolved precisely for 1G change that, in either direction, and humans struggle. So maybe we're living on the Goldilocks planet after all. Not too heavy, not too light, just right. If you enjoyed this thought experiment, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the weird and wonderful world of science. And drop a comment. Would you try to survive on a double gravity Earth? Or would you check out early? I'm genuinely curious. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.